sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr.Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on UBNradio.com.
And welcome. My name is Dr. Marissa, and you are listening to my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at noon on your phone or computer, exclusively on www.universalbroadcastingnetworkradio.com out of the Sunset Gower studios. This is a show about hope and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So there's no angry ranting, no political rhetoric, no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. Kardashians. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how to be happy 88% of the time. And if you miss me on KUSI News San Diego, you can still see me in the interview where the question of the week was, are relationships difficult? And just in time for Valentine's, in proof that the universe has a sense of humor, since I got the call to do the interview a couple days after I tried to break up with my guy by email. So, speaking of relationships, you are in for a treat for the rest of the month. I have romance-related guests coming next week. 8-time past Oprah guest and sex therapist from Millionaire Matchmaker will be here, Dr. Pat Allen, February the 11th, followed by Canadian sexologist Dr. Robin Milhauser to talk about sex, chocolate, and toys, and then topped off by the founder of OM, Orgasmic Meditation, Nicole Damon. So you can tell the rest. I'm starting G-rated today, and we're steadily going into the R-rated romance, R for romance, because I really would like to make pleasure a G-rated topic. And today, one of the special things that I get to do with this show is to bring on guests who are making a positive difference on the planet. Remember Bruno Serrato, who was CNN's Hero of the Year that I brought on, who feeds the motel kids in Anaheim, and Christine Devine, whose show Forever Families, I brought her on to talk about adoption and hard-to-place kids. Well, today I'm bringing on a friend and his two friends, 3 firefighters and paramedics who are great examples of changing the world and being the change that they want to see. With Project EMS4Baja, California is in the house. So please welcome EMS4Baja. Yay. And I'll start over here. We have Kim Bridges, and you are a retired firefighter and paramedic.
Yes.
True.
True. I was a firefighter for 25 years, paramedic for 3 years before that, and was injured on the job and took a little bit early retirement.
But you're not really retired.
No. Not now.
We're going to get into that. And next to you is Paul Hawkins.
Hello.
And you are as well a retired firefighter and paramedic.
That is true.
And you are also the president of EMS4Baja.
Yes. I have 39 years of full-time EMS experience, retired from the fire department after 30 years in 2010. Currently teaching EMTs and paramedics, and I'm the president of our nonprofit, EMS4Baja.
Wonderful. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
And last but not least, the current captain at the Hermosa Beach Fire Department, my friend Mike Garofano.
Hello, thanks for having us, Marissa.
Absolutely, Mike. It's a pleasure to have you here. So you obviously didn't take the route of I'm going to retire and just sort of drink pina coladas by the pool and not doing anything. Tell me about EMS4Baja.
Well, I'll start since I'm the president, so then they can articulate much better than I. 14 years ago, we were approached at a U.S.-Mexico Sister City function by our sister city in Mexico, which is Laredo, asking if we would be willing to do an experiment where we brought emergency medical training to their city. And so we said, okay, sure, we'll do it. So we went down there and we gave them a 1-week class on the basics of EMT, emergency medical technician training. And it was a smashing success, and it just took off. Next thing we knew, we were training them at the paramedic level. We now have a fully functional fire department down there with paid professional full-time dual function firefighter paramedics. And
Great.
So it's a wonderful thing.
Now, for those of us like me, when you say Baja California is really not California. Baja California is Mexico, right?
Right. It's the peninsula just directly south out of San Diego, separated by mainland Mexico by the Sea of Cortez.
So I'm going to put the question down, like, why would you want to help, it's not really our neck of the woods, or it's not our responsibility. Why would you want to go and help another country?
Well, first of all people are our responsibility.
Thank you. That was a
And-
trick question.
And second of all, it certainly is in the United States backyard. There's more travelers and expats that live in the on the Baja Peninsula. And it's certainly frequented by a lot of people in the United States. And I think that what benefits that side of Mexico benefits the United States.
Absolutely. In fact, I read a little story that sort of illustrated the need down there. I thought it was a very moving, sort of the impetus or one of the reasons why you're actually doing this.
Yeah, we'd been going down there about 7 years
Yes.
or so, and normally we fly, and we had driven down to bring supplies that were needed. And on the way home, after our week of teaching, we were just driving along, and we were about 50 miles outside of Guerrero Negro, which is the next town. And some Americans who had left about a half hour prior to us leaving Laredo with another group that was helping down there, they're standing in the middle of the road as we round the corner, and flagged us down and said, there's a bad accident up ahead, and we knew you guys were coming and you're paramedics, so we'd like you to help out.
Right.
And so we pulled off the road, and we're looking around in the car, I think, because we don't have any equipment with us.
Right.
A paramedic without your heart monitor and IVs and bandages and all the stuff that we carry, we're just using our knowledge to try and help them. And so we pulled off the road, and we each went to a different person. There
was a couple cars?
It was one car rolled over. It was a family of 6, and the 2 smallest children. It was a Blazer type, an older Chevy Blazer type vehicle. The 2 smallest children were in the back of it, unrestrained, and they were the ones that suffered the most severe injury. So I went to this little girl who was laying there, and as I walked up, she had lost her arm, and she was unconscious, unresponsive. Couldn't wake her up, and so I started doing what I could to control bleeding and that. Paul went to a little boy. A mother was carrying a little boy around, and he began to examine him and found that he had a skull fracture. And so both of those are life-threatening
Absolutely.
injuries. And the people that were at the scene began calling for help.
Right.
And, we felt helpless, I think, to a certain extent, because we
Right.
didn't have the tools. And we ended up waiting 45 minutes
At least a half an hour.
for
Wow.
an ambulance to
Right.
arrive. And when the ambulance got there, the guys were trained as emergency medical technicians, so they didn't have IVs. They didn't have the things that would help get these people safely to more advanced treatment.
Right.
And they just pulled up. We talked to them for a few moments, loaded them in the ambulance, took off back to the town. And we really weren't sure the younger kids were going to make it. We were kind of bummed the rest of the drive home.
Sure.
And if I can add to the story,
please.
we found out later, a Manhattan Beach firefighter from the neighboring city to Hermosa, he would go down, take his family down and do like immersion living with his kids. Would go to the schools down there, and
Oh, really?
and it's the town just north of Loretto. Well, this family was from that town, and his kids
went to school with
those both of those kids who both lived. The little girl had a prosthesis on her arm, but he showed us a picture. She was actually doing fine. But
Great.
that incident helped us to realize the need down there for advanced training, because it was probably in the miracle category that they both survived.
Yeah, and they probably wouldn't have if you had not been around the corner.
Well, possibly. It's hard to say that.
One part of that story you forgot is our friend was a personal friend of the governor.
Yes.
And he called for a helicopter evac.
So that definitely
So not everybody is
that fortunate to
get
have
that
that,
treatment,
but
right.
absolutely.
You
Wow. So let me diverge for a second, because I wanted to. I always, we talk about 9/11. We talk about, first line responders and how important and the work that you do. Is it hard? How do you cope with? You said you were kind of bummed on the ride on the way back. How do you take care of yourselves when when your phone rings? It's usually not good news.
True.
Right? And you go, and the adrenaline's going, and you get there, and you're how do you take care of yourself on that? I can't imagine.
Well, if I'll throw out what I tell young EMT and paramedic students when they ask me questions like that. I tell them that when something really terrible happens, I look at it as a way to become a better paramedic. I always make sure that I learn something, that this bad thing didn't happen in vain, that I'm going to take something away that's going to make me more able to help someone. So I think that's one method, is you need to keep your head on straight,
Right.
and
Sort of separate out.
understand that this is what you signed up for,
Right.
and you need to have a healthy way of managing that kind of stress.
I think that that everybody handles it differently. Firefighters as a group are pretty strong in that regard, handling tragedy, but we all have, I would say, 3 or 4 calls that we can remember still that troubled us, that stick with us. And they have developed, they've recognized and developed over the years counseling, where it used to be considered unmanly, to get counseling.
A sign of weakness.
Yeah, you weren't hanging tough,
I'm
if you
glad
had to
we're
get
talking about that.
if you had to get
Yeah.
counseling. But
Right.
now it's become mainstream. It's more common. So if there's something horribly tragic that would bother you, that there is counseling available for firefighters and police.
Have they done any studies around, alcohol or addicts or coping mechanisms before and after counseling? Like before it was considered manly or unmanly, and now that it's acceptable? I would love to remind me to follow up on that.
Yeah, I don't know if there is any data out there that shows the results or the benefits
Yeah,
of the
I would love to
of the
see that.
counseling. That would be an interesting thing to find out. But Mike, do you?
Well, I don't know of any direct data that we can draw from, but I do know that as far back as 25 years ago, it was recognized as a major issue, and even in my entry recruit academy, we spent hours discussing it, and it literally can shorten your career.
Absolutely. If you
so-
can't handle
right.
that kind of those 4 or 5, I'm curious as to what those are. The things that you can't,
You
want
don't
to go
well,
there.
you wanna know.
You don't
They're
wanna know,
they're
okay.
probably pretty graphic, and you
Okay.
wouldn't want it.
All right. I know. It's that curiosity thing. Okay, I'll take your word for it. All right.
When we're off the air, we'll tell you.
Okay. Or maybe not.
Yeah, then you'll go home all depressed.
Exactly.
And not eat lunch.
Yeah. Well, it's, tragedy is one of those things that is part of life. We don't like it, and we definitely hope that nothing happens. But from being in the middle of that Seal Beach salon shooting and being asked to comment on things like that, and you dealing with that basically as part of your job, I think it's important to put it in the best possible context that we can, and that every tragedy, there is an opportunity in there for help. Like in every natural disaster is the opportunity for our planet to sort of come together and unite in a way that shows caring and love that we wouldn't have had. Not that we're asking for tragedy, but certainly, if we can put the focus on the help instead of the hurt, I think that helps.
And I think Mike and Kim would agree with me. The rewards of our profession far outweigh the negative.
That's good to know.
Oh, it's the only thing that kept us going, probably.
Yeah.
Who would do that,
Right.
day in, day out, if there wasn't some payoff,
Right.
aside from
Right.
a
Feels
great,
good.
a great retirement,
Yeah. It feels good. Right. I'm guessing that's one. Yeah. So why do this project? Why do EMS4Baja? What exactly kind of caught you? And we were talking in the green room. This is not just affecting you. It affects your family, because you're taking vacation time that Mike's wife, my friend Yvette. I had no idea that really this cut into her happiness too. She really does love you because you're taking vacation time to go and build this thing in Baja California to help people that you don't have to do this. So where does that motivation come from?
Well, I'll start with that. Really, the motivation comes from a lot of different levels. And you know what, I'll just start with what I feel as though has driven me. First of all, I made a commitment. And during the early years that we started going there, they had absolutely no emergency services whatsoever. We were teaching CPR to hotel workers and police officers, and it was a tremendous success, only to find out that there was nobody to transport someone in cardiac arrest or any kind of serious injury, and continued treatment to definitive treatment at the emergency room. So that's kind of where we initially went. Aside from the personal relationships, the commitment we made was we are not leaving here until we're going to help you establish a system. And that's where we are right now. And our guys down there are literally saving lives on a daily basis. They're doing tremendous work. And you got to see where the payoff is for me, being part of that partnership, the impetus to get us, to where we are today. So for me, that's been a wonderful experience.
And that, I talk about this with my listeners all the time, where, the whole old paradigm of why we're here on the planet. Okay, the Cinderella, you get a job, you have a career, you work, you make a lot of money or enough money that you can travel or buy toys, and then you die. It's okay. It's an okay story, but if this is all there is for sure in this particular manifestation, heaven aside or what was happened before aside, isn't it important to juice your life to the point where you're adding meaning to yourself and to your life in a bigger way than just that da-da-da-da-da-da. And so when I hear you talk and I see your eyes light up, and when I hear both of you explain what you get to do, that I think is what this show is about. The 88% happy and the hope is about, what is it that I am? What gifts, talents, and abilities do I have as an individual that can make a difference on the planet, that bring me that feeling of purpose and importance and caring and knowing that I can contribute. So that's a question that I'm asking all my listeners, everyone who is wondering, is this all there is? And midlife is a great time to ask that question, is this all there is? And so here's a great example of, you didn't have to do this. This is not part of your job. This was not part of you could easily, you're both married, right? All three of
Yes.
you are married. You have how many kids?
3.
3 kids. What are their names?
Garrett, Jordan, and Hannah.
Okay. And you have
7.
7. You're not busy. Or your wife's not busy. What's your wife's name?
Heidi.
Heidi, bless you. And you have triplets.
Yes.
So
I have 13-year-old triplets. They're the youngest, and then I have a 38-year-old daughter, a 36-year-old daughter, 28-year-old daughter, and a 24-year-old son.
and what are the names?
Oh my gosh. Suzanne.
Hey, this is a family show
Okay.
today, right?
Okay.
We've got to give kudos where we can give them.
Starting with the oldest, Suzanne, Melissa, Erica, Wesley, and then the triplets, Kieran, Kendra, and Kyle.
Wow. Oh, girls at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
I had to practice to get a boy.
Girls are better anyways. That's what I say.
Yeah, it's
My girls are. Chloe and Sarah are definitely the best.
it's you're either dealing with a problem now or the one that's coming. So it doesn't matter if they're boys or girls.
Okay. I'll take that. Mike?
I have my wife Yvette and one son Colby.
Underachiever.
So how do they see this project? I mean, this is something that kind of cuts into their time. Do you involve them?
Yes, I try to involve them. My family is behind it, although it is hard, when I've got time off and I'm leaving for a week or 10 days and it's taken away from family time. Mm-hmm. But my wife has gone with me. Lynette has gone down to Loretto 4 or 5 times, I believe. And my whole family went once, and then a couple of my kids have gone a few times. Mm-hmm. And they love it down there, mm-hmm. and they get to see firsthand, what is happening, and they understand the importance of what we're doing. And even though it takes my time away from them, they are behind it and appreciate it.
That's great.
My family's fully supportive of it. None of them have ever been to Loretto. Mm-hmm. Have a little problem with my wife's fear of traveling south of the border with the children. But they fully support it. I think maybe they get a little tired of hearing me talk about it because I come back and I'm rattling off Spanish to them and I'm telling them stories and I see them roll their eyes once in a while. But no, I think they're very supportive, and I think they're very proud to know that their dad's involved in something like this.
Right. So now you have, I saw on the pictures, someone donated ambulances where they had no ambulances before.
Well, we've had ambulances donated by various groups, but the latest 2 ambulances we received last April came from a company called AmeriCare, which is here in Los Angeles, and they made a very generous donation of 2 fully functional frontline ambulances.
Not donation level.
Correct. In fact, until they got repainted a few weeks after delivery, there were AmeriCare ambulances in service probably within about an hour after their delivery.
Wow.
So they were put immediately in service.
That's great.
I want to thank Mike Summers, the president of AmeriCare, for making those donations because it had an immediate positive effect.
That's great. So if there's other ambulance companies that are watching this or that are being referred to this, how do they find you to donate?
The best way to get a hold of us is through the webpage, which is EMS4Baja.org.
Number 4.
Yeah,
the number
EMS
4, yes.
number 4 Baja, and it's .org, and they have contact information, or they could email us their information, and the website talks about what we're looking for in donations, and the one thing that, like what you mentioned, is that we want to stress is that we don't want. I mean, this equipment and the things that are donated are going toward life-saving functions. So we're not looking for junk. We're not looking for the stuff you're trying to get rid of.
Right.
You know,
My 13-inch TV, no.
Probably not. What we are looking for things that we would be able to use either in instruction and our classroom, or through, actually put into emergency service.
Mm-hmm. And medical supplies at all? Would that help?
Well,
If it were specific for EMS, for emergency medical services, such as automatic defibrillators, EKG machines, splints, traction splints, all that kind of equipment that would be specific for EMS, which is not everybody. Very few people have that laying around in their garage, I know. So we're probably speaking primarily to people who are in the EMS field.
Right.
But all of it is usable.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Great. So actually, this would be a good time to play my sponsor music, since you are sponsoring the show, and then you can tell me exactly what the mission of EMS4Baja is, and because I like this music. It's the song that reminds me to thank my sponsors of the show.
And dance a little bit.
Yes. So the mission of EMS4Baja is
to provide support and training of emergency services throughout the region of Baja California and beyond into the mainland of Mexico.
And it is a nonprofit.
It is a 501c3 educational foundation, so any donation is tax deductible. And our focus is education. We believe, just like the old saying is, it's better to teach a man to fish. A lot of well-meaning donors have donated very expensive equipment to other areas in the region of Mexico. But unless you have somebody who really knows how to capitalize on that piece of equipment and use it, it's just pretty.
Right.
But I'd rather teach our students what they need and then let them do the work about clamoring for the donations to help us out.
Right. And any donation amount is good. $100, $500.
Any amount. And I'd like to point out that a piece of equipment, for example, an ambulance, it costs us $500 to export it across the border.
Okay.
So a piece of equipment has a monetary cost,
transport cost
attached to it. So we really, for that reason, we really would appreciate any cash donations to help with that.
I'd also like to add that you're able to earmark your funds. So if there are any listeners out there that want to have a specific choice or a specific area that they would like to have their money or whatever they're donating to, they can just add it on the comments line.
So give me an example.
An example is we have had some property donated to us that our biggest goal on our plate right now is we want to build a school. And we want to operate that school 12 months out of the year, and not only open to fire and emergency personnel, but even hospital emergency personnel for certifications and upgrade and certifications. And so we're looking for funding in order to build that school.
Right.
The fortunate thing is we are working in Mexico, and we think that we can pull that off for $100,000, which is
unheard of here.
Yeah, which is a relatively little amount for such a huge impact.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. Dr. Marissa, listeners, if you're looking for something to make a difference in, this is absolutely an important and an interesting, because it crosses the borders, so we're definitely talking about planetary help. We also, if you're a surfer or anyone that might benefit from emergency medical services down there, you should be number one on the donation track, because they could be helping you. I'm not doing any mojo at all. I'm not saying that anything's going to happen, but I'm certain I would love to drop me a line and tell me that you helped them, and we'll highlight you in some way on the show.
Laredo is one of the fishing capitals of Baja California, so there's a lot of help to local fishermen and Americans that go to fish in Loretto.
Okay. Now I know a number of people. Larry, that's you. I know you love to fish. All right. And we'll be back.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. We're back to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, also known as the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, and my newest moniker, the Asian Oprah, because I have so many past Oprah guests on and winning the Asian Entrepreneur of the Year award last year. So we are here today in a very G-rated show to kick off Valentine's month with 3 amazing firefighter paramedics who have taken their free time and their free care and created a nonprofit called EMS4Baja that helps teach, supply, care for, instill emergency medical services in Baja California. So welcome back to the studio. We have Paul and Kim and Mike.
Thank you.
Yay. So couple more questions. What's the most rewarding aspect of your involvement in teaching paramedics in Mexico?
Kim.
It's hard to say the most rewarding, but there are a couple of things. One, I'm all about relationships, and we've very quickly formed a very strong bond with the firefighters down there. And so that interpersonal relationship with them and seeing guys be successful when that career path wasn't even available at 8 years ago, 9 years ago,
Right.
Before the fire department was formed, to see them providing for their family, liking their job, being proud of what they're doing, is very rewarding for me. I'm every time we go, I'm thrilled to see those guys, performing their job and the respect the community gives them. All those things are very rewarding for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay. Kim stole some of mine, so I'll build on it.
All right.
All ditto with what Kim said. Plus, I think one of the things that really kind of tugs at me when I see our guys at work is their level of commitment and how much the local community depends on them, appreciates them. It's a lesson for all of us who are in public service to see how selfless these people, these firefighter paramedics are.
Right.
They will literally drop everything on their days off, doesn't matter, to respond, to do whatever needs to be done. It's a real inspiration. And I often say, I don't know who's getting more out of this, us or them, because they're an inspiration to us.
Right. Great. Great. And do you partner with other places that...
Oh wait, Mike's going to tell
Mike,
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the most? I almost cut off Mike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's got a story.
That's
Oh,
okay.
you.
His eclipses mine.
No, I don't have a story.
Well, Padrino.
Oh, well, you're right. There is the personal relationships, and our current fire chief is our first paramedic graduate, and so we have been very successful not only in training these gentlemen. Right now, they're gentlemen. We only have one female paramedic from the city of Constitution, but we currently have the fire chief is a former student. The federal fire chief for the airport facility I should say they're all current students also, but is a graduate from our program, and they have a director of civil protection, which is more of an emergency management function, is also a student of ours. So not only have we, produced, a whole new fire department.
Right.
But we've those students have grown up to be leaders in the community.
Perfect.
And there's really, I was godfather to the fire chief's daughter. I was the padrino for her quinceañera.
Wow.
And next year, Kim is going down. So
it's family
it's
now.
It's very, very close.
That's very rewarding.
Yeah, there's really no words on radio that could show the type of relationships that have been built.
That's wonderful. I have in the chat room Mark Bridges. Do you all know who Mark Bridges
That's my
is?
brother.
Okay. Well, he says, have them tell about taking the fire chief of Laredo to the Mexico Fire Chiefs Convention in Cabo to talk about the program to other chiefs.
Okay.
So
I'll start with that.
thanks, Mark.
This year, Kim and I, Paul was unable to make it because he had some commitments, but Kim and I and the fire chief from Loreto went to the International Fire Chiefs Convention in Cabo San Lucas. That was hosted by the fire chief, Juan Carvajal, and the city of Cabo San Lucas. They did a wonderful job, but really we went there to experience what it was to be a Mexican firefighter, and we attended their classes, and we brought the fire chief from Loreto because we need to expand their vision also.
Right.
We continue to have them learn, and it was a tremendous success. We made a lot of we were starting to talk a little bit about partnerships,
Right.
And we've recently been endorsed by the Mexican Fire Chiefs Association
Wow.
as a benefactor, a mutual benefactor.
Wonderful.
And we will be going there to have signing documents relating to that fact once they're drawn up in April. But as it is right now, it was a wonderful thing.
Great.
We also had met a couple of other partners there, Firefighters Crossing Borders, and there are several other groups that
I've heard of them.
Right, that have parallel missions.
Right.
Not totally
competing.
not competing.
Good.
And not totally the same either.
Right.
So we are starting a charter with all of those groups.
That's great.
Because some people may have donations that we may not be able to use, but we're developing a network so we can get donations and knowledge that is pertinent to whoever. There are people in Puerto Vallarta. There are people practicing in the middle of mainland Mexico.
Right.
And so we think that this network will be really beneficial.
Great. Great. That sounds awesome. So any other partnerships that we missed?
Well, I would like to. This wouldn't have started to happen without Sister City International, specifically Hermosa
that.
Beach Sister City, because they were the ones
Who paired you up.
who paired us up, and they've been instrumental, certainly still instrumental in training and donations and getting us there to do our job. We have Alpha Grant Solutions is a company that is filing grants for us. Not really successfully yet, but we just started going down that road. But I say a partner because they're really doing it at a really reduced rate. There's also I can't let it go without mentioning them. There's a group called Friends of Loreto out of Cerritos, and they have a bond with Loreto because of the Cerritos air crash in the 80s.
Late 1980s, I believe.
Yeah, late 1980s, and they have been instrumental in getting vehicles, equipment, hard stuff.
Right.
And they've been very helpful in our organization.
Great. So future, what's next for EMS4Baja?
Well, Mike mentioned that our vision is to have a school, and not just a building, but we want it to be operating all year long. We want to have paramedic training going on, probably about 2 courses per year, two entire classes per year. We want to have professional instructors who are paid instructors, because you know what the old adage, you get what you pay for.
Right.
We want to we want to make it into a regional training center for all of Baja and beyond, mainland Mexico. Certainly we want to make it affordable, so that we can grant scholarships to students from other cities they or their city leaders have the vision that they want to duplicate what's going on in Loretto with full-time paramedics, which is a major commitment financially. So we would like to be able to supplement, their tuition through donations.
Right.
I think it's important to mention also we currently have not only we've talked a lot about Loretto and Loretto's program, but we have students coming from Mulegé, Santa Rosalia, Constitution, La Paz, Los Barriles, Cabo San Lucas. So already we've reached out to most of the major cities on the Baja Peninsula. During the Fire Chiefs Convention, we also opened doors and started speaking with the firefighters from Ensenada and Tijuana. So we're certainly there. Our classes have reached capacity for what we have, upwards of 60 students twice a year.
That's great.
And so the interest is there. The problem is now is facilities.
Okay. I hear a lot of people say, I really want to be a paramedic, I really want to be a firefighter, and for whatever reason there's a shortage of spaces, or it's hard to get in to that line of work these days. Is there a way that they can be part of your project as a way of fulfilling that desire?
That really isn't how the system works.
Okay. Well, I thought I would try.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry. Need here, need. But.
Right. You are absolutely correct that there are a lot of people that want to get into the line of work, and they think being a paramedic firefighter would be rewarding, and there's a well-established way to do that in the United States. And in Mexico, the certifications aren't the same. It wouldn't cross over. But I like your initiative there. That was good thinking, but it really wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
a lot of our young firefighter candidates here in the United States become EMTs. They get a few years experience working on an ambulance. They put themselves through paramedic school. Now, a person like that who has some experience, we would welcome their experience as skills instructors, as associate instructors. Absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, it probably would look good on their resume, but it's not going to. It's not going to.
All right.
It's not going to do a lot for them other than make them feel good and make us happy.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, we're butting up at the end of our time here, but I wanted to thank you so much for coming on. And I wanted to end, because it is Valentine's month, with a special, the wand's gotten as loud as the laughs, a special Valentine's message to your wives on the air so that you can get brownie points as part of your Valentine's present, right? What wife gets a Valentine's message on the air from their husbands? This is not one of those normal things, right? So you're getting total brownie points because you're going to send this to them, because you can actually watch it again or hear it on iTunes. Okay, so
Awesome.
We'll start with you.
Okay.
Okay, look in the camera.
Oh. Hi, Lynette. There's a Bible scripture that says that a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined with his wife, and the two will become one flesh. And that's how I feel about our relationship and our marriage. And I'd be incomplete without you. I love you.
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm glad you have to follow that.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, to my beautiful wife, Heidi, thank you for putting up with me, but more importantly, for being the wonderful mother of our 3 triplets. It's probably the best thing that's happened to me ever. So thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Now she's
You hope.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's one less chocolate.
And to my beautiful wife, Yvette, she's more my best friend, and she supports me in every single way. And there's not a lot of people that do that. So,
yeah, he's a little hard to read.
yeah, I'm a little hard to live with sometimes.
Little peanut gallery comment in there.
It's not wrong.
Oh.
And so I truly appreciate everything that she does for me and the love that I have for her. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yay. We need a little applause for that. That was very well done. I hope I set you guys up for a nice session with lingerie for that.
We're slowly going into the R-rated stuff.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
going to have
there.
to listen to next week now.
Yes. And thank you again for coming on and sharing your joy and your work. And listeners, please do visit EMS, E as in Emergency Medical Services, the number 4, just like my 4 balance, but 4 Baja, BAJA .org, and help out as much as you can. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, and it's that time for the Balance Bar announcements. Another one of those. For those of you on the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa, we are on day 4 of round 31 that just started February 1st. And I'm very grateful for continued people signing up on my beautiful new website, the number 4 balance.org. I want a special shout out. Thank you, share to Dio Glines, Art. If I get this right, his company is Art Kitchen, American Art Kitchen. Art Kitchen at deoglines.com, DEYOGLINES.com. Check out my new improved website. It is absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't have done it without Dio. And so for those of you who are trying not to complain, remember that anger is just one letter away from danger. So also when you complain and when you're in anger, you drop IQ points. For every 20 seconds that you're angry, you drop, I think it's 2 to 5 IQ points. So be very careful when you're angry. Do not complain, and certainly shut your front door, because you never know what you're going to say. You're going to probably regret it. So try not to complain. Day 4, 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa. I will be starting a balanced Tai Qigong class March 27th. So sign up now at the Agape International Spiritual Center. My Sedona trip, all you women who are tired of being tired, want to find some time for yourself, learn meditation, still and moving meditation techniques. That's the weekend after Mother's Day. So you can hit your loved ones up early. You can be an early Valentine's present or early Mother's Day and combined Valentine's present. We'll be staying at the Los Abrigados Resort and Spa. So please do check my website out any way you want to balance your life tires at 4balance.org with Dr. Marissa. So next week, tune in for 8-time Oprah guest whose nickname is the Comic Mother Superior. And she helps the loveless on Millionaire Matchmaker keep their pants on. That's Dr. Pat Allen returning to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
May he turn 21 on the base of Fort Bliss just
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends,